Alright, hey guys, I'm going to show you how I made this little flamingo cake topper. You're going to start with, this is a 2-inch styrofoam ball, and I made some bright pink modeling chocolate. So what I'm going to do is rub down my counter here with some shortening. I'm going to roll out a piece of this. And I'll literally just wrap it around the ball. And modeling chocolate is very easy to get the seams out, so I don't stress too much about it being perfect. And I just kind of pinched off the excess and began to shape it into the bird's body. Here, I got an X-Acto blade. When I can feel air, I just kind of cut and push that air out, because you don't want air underneath there. In there. And what I do now is I just take this and stick it in the fridge and let it harden back up, because this is pretty soft from the warmth of my hands. Alright, I stuck my thing in the fridge. Now I'm back. Now what I'm going to do next is I've got this tiny little 1-inch ball, and I'm going to do a very similar thing for the head. I'm just going to roll out the modeling chocolate and wrap it around this little ball. That's the head. Again, I am not one of those flawless, everything has to be perfect cake decorators. Just not necessarily my thing. Perfect. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go pop this in the refrigerator. Now I have here, this is an 18 gauge floral wire that I use. I have a piece left over from the other day, because those pieces I think are like 18 inches long, and you really only need about 6 inches. Wire cutters here, which you can probably just do this with scissors. Alright, so I've got my wire there. Again, take some more of that modeling chocolate. Roll it out for the neck. And I'm just going to push that wire through it. I want the wire sticking out on both ends, because I've got to push it into both of the body and the head. These are in my fridge literally less than 5 minutes, and they're really firmed up really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on gloves. If you're doing these for a client, you probably want to wear gloves the whole time. I'm just making this for you guys. So, and this just helps you smooth the modeling chocolate and get it really, get rid of the fingerprints mostly. Again, I don't care that it's perfect, but you don't want fingerprints. So I just start smoothing that with my gloves on to get any fingerprints and try to make it look a little nicer. And the warmth of your hand. If you have cold hands, you may not have to do the refrigerator thing. My hands are always really warm, so I easily melt anything that I'm working on. Alright, so you're going to take this neck and you're going to stick it kind of in the top front. I wanted it kind of to curve back a bit and then back toward. So I made my neck a little too tall. Oh, that was a mistake. I cut off too much. Don't do what I just did. You want to leave some hanging out on the end there to put your head on. Modeling chocolate, you can smooth those seams out really easily. I just keep working it. Alright, it's getting pretty warm again with my super warm hands, so I'm going to pop it back in the fridge for just a second. I've got here some lighter pink. I'm going to roll that out, and I've got a teardrop cutter here, and I'm just going to do 4 little, so what you want to do 2 this way, and you actually want to flip your cutter over and do 2 backwards for the other side. A couple of other tricks I'll tell you real quick. I use this Edible Art by Sweet Sticks edible paints, and I've got orange, black, and gold here. I painted the part sticking. This is where it went into the cake, and I just painted that with orange. Then you're going to use the gold on the wings and the black on the beak and the eye. So there were tiny little ribbon roses on the top. So what I did is just rolled out some of the leftover modeling chocolate, and I cut, I want this pretty thin. Am I still, yeah. And I just cut little tiny strips with an X-Acto blade. Roll them up. Super easy peasy. Kind of pinch the bottom and it'll flare out a little bit. And then I cut that bottom off so it's flat. And I made like 6 or 8 of these to stick on the top of the flamingo. And I painted some of them gold. So some were pink and some were the contrasting gold. Pinch it on the bottom. And then cut that bottom off so that it's flat so it'll sit really easily on top of your flamingo's head. Here is the flamingo. I could keep fidgeting with it for a while, but you just want to get it the shape that you want it. And you want to just keep rubbing those seams until you get them so they, they're pretty smooth. With these little bamboo skewers, bought them almost everything I buy on Amazon. And I just put them right in the bottom. And I kind of put them close together, pointing out just a smidge. You could put them straight down if you wanted to, whatever works for you. And once you stick this in a fridge, it's going to get really, really hard. And I had this outside on Saturday, and it was pretty warm here in Mississippi, and it did not give me any trouble. So I'm just rubbing a little shortening on there right now. And then I'm going to put one wing. And then I put a second wing. Not a second wing, but a second piece of fondant to give it a little more texture. And do the same thing on the other side. If you remember, let me show you real quick. On here I had some texture. Just makes it look more like feathers. I took this gem tool and I just kind of feathered the fondant out a little bit. There's no right or wrong. Do the same thing on the other side. And so now you've got this. I took the black Sweet Sticks edible art paint, edible food paint. And it really only takes just a tiny bit. So I just paint right out of the lid. Got in here and I painted the beak really quickly. You could also, if you don't have this edible paints, you could use just like Americolor. Really, you don't have to have the edible paint because Americolor is edible too. And so I just painted the end of that with my black paint. And I turned it and did this little doop. And there went the eye. So it's super easy. You could hand paint this if you wanted to, but I love this gem tool. I use it all the time. I actually have 3 or 4 of them. And super easy to do a little mark like that. And I just attached my little flowers with a drop of shortening. I took my gold paint, pour a little bit in the top here. You need a little bit more of it than I did the black. And kind of a wider brush. And just did a kind of a rough brush on the tips of her wings. Did that on both sides. And again, the last thing I did was took the orange and I painted the legs. I stuck this in the fridge again for about 10 minutes and it was done. It was hard. And I may have left it longer than that when it was finished because I just kind of left it until party time. But then you pull it out and you're done. I mean, this modeling chocolate holds up really, really well. Unless you get it super hot, it's not going anywhere. And you can warm it with your fingers if you need to reshape anything just a little bit. But that's it. It's super fast. So that's your flamingo. Easy peasy, ready to go. And if you have any questions, you can leave me a comment. Thanks.